Seeing some new people coming in. Welcome, Facebook. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see you. I am dual broadcasting, so I'm going to be looking back and forth at both cameras, but I'm still loving on both of you. Welcome in. I am Melody Reynolds, and I wear many hats in many different ways. I share a lot here about faith. Hi, Shauna. I do that every time. Hi, Shauna. I do a lot of things, but I share a lot about faith, Bible study, real life topics, and your health tips, which includes essential oils for me. So that is what, hi girl, that is what I'm always about. If you're here, I do random crazy stuff from time to time, but I like to share what it is. Share what it is that I'm learning, and hopefully make your life a little easier as well. So if you're interested in goal setting, I have some tips for you, and that's what I wanted to share tonight. Because if a lot of you may not know, you might be new to me, I run my own business from home. I homeschool. I'm a wife and mother, so I have those duties as well. And I take care of myself health-wise. I make it a priority. Hi, well, welcome in. I'm glad to have you. So a lot of times people will see me and all the things that I'm doing, and one of the questions I get a lot is, how are you doing all this? Because it looks like, hi, Emily. I was like, wait a minute, I was trying to read the name. How are you? Oils rock. That's right, Shauna. You know what's up, girl. Fist bump, Facebook. So I do get a lot of questions about how are you doing everything, because I'm on pretty much, I wouldn't say all social media platforms, but I'm on a lot of them. And me too. I use them every day. And I do homeschool, and I'm running a business from home through online. So I do an online business from home, and I do a lot of social media. I'm also working on an e-course. So I have learned to be a very good steward of my time. And I want to share a few of those tips with you, just hoping that maybe you haven't thought about your goals in this way. Because a lot of people, when you talk goal setting, they get very overwhelmed and they think, oh, wow, okay, I'm going to set a whole, yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot. But I've learned some things along the way, and I've made a lot of mistakes. And the good thing about mistakes is that if you're willing and you're open to it, you learn a lot from it, and hopefully you improve. Oh, I love it. I love it too, Shauna. That's the best investment I've ever made. She said she likes my tripod stand. It's got two different places. I can have my iPad and my iPhone here going at the same time. And so that's one of the things that I do. I do my live broadcast at the same time so that I can talk to everybody at once, but also so that I make the most of my time. So I'm not having to do it twice. So that's been a lifesaver for me. And yeah, they do. It's so nice. Archon Mounts has them. They're like $90, but I'm going to tell you, they are the best money I have ever spent, because I have bought so many crappy stands for like $5 or $12. They don't last. Yeah, these are really nice. They're like, if you were ever in like chorus or band, if you remember the stands that they had where you would lay your music, it's like made out of that kind of material. So it's, those lasted forever. Yeah. Well, I spent like a year leaning my camera up against my candle stands, and I got tired of it sliding down. So I thought, I'm going to invest in it. Business expense anyway. So let's get to the goal setting tips. And this is just, I want you to get your minds kind of thinking a different way about your goals. I don't want you to look at goal setting as something you have to do. Obviously, it isn't. But I am a very type A, goal-oriented person, and you may be as well. And so each year, I like to set goals. And I do it in January, the typical time when everybody does it. But I go throughout the year, and I have monthly goals, I have weekly goals, and I have daily goals. And that's what I want you to think about. Let's say you have the goal of let's say you want to lose weight. You want to lose like 15 pounds. Okay, because we always have that last 10 pounds that we're like, I can't get this 10 pounds off, right? So let's say you want to lose like 15 or 20 pounds, okay? Now, at first you're going to think, wow, that's like a huge general goal. Well, I want to lose 20 pounds. But to actually make that happen, you have to do something called reverse engineering. And, yeah, being a procrastinator. Well, I like to get things done. I'm very, like, I will set a goal and I will push till I get to that goal. Because I like to see my goals met. And sometimes I will procrastinate if it's something I don't really want to do. I can do that sometimes, which is why I keep my goals in front of me, though. Because a daily reminder of what it is that you want is what's going to push you in the times when you're like, I don't really want to do that. Like, in the beginning of the year, you get very revved up and you think, I want to lose weight. I want to get out of debt. I want to do this. And those are all really great goals, right? Awesome. But then as the year goes by, you know, we're over halfway through with the year now. Have you met any of those goals? Have you made it halfway to those goals? So I want you to start looking at your goals and breaking them down. Okay, so you want to lose weight. Like, find the big goal, okay? And then reverse engineer it. So what's it going to take to get to that goal? Break it apart. Well, I'm going to have to work out, right? So you might say, you know, I want to work out. Okay, how much do you need to work out daily? And then will that add up monthly? And then that'll get you to your goal. So instead of just saying, I want to lose weight, break it down into achievable, measurable goals. So for me, my workouts, I try to work out. I'm not going to say try. My goal, I strive to work out 5 to 6 days a week. Okay? And so I know that in order for me to lose the last 10 pounds I want to lose, I need to be working out at least 5 days a week and 6 on a good week. So I write that down each week in my planner because I do like to have something in front of me. It doesn't have to be a planner. It can be anything you want. It can be a whiteboard. This really helped me. This was life-changing for me because I've always been a goal setter, but then they would overwhelm me because I was like, well, I want to do this and I want to do this and I got to do that and I got to do this. And it's like, then you get overwhelmed and you don't do anything. Or you work at something, but you're kind of giving a little bit of effort to everything and then you're exhausted and frustrated. Yeah. And that helps me. If a planner's not your thing, a notebook. I mean, I used to make my own planners with a notebook. Whatever it is for you to keep it in front of you. So write it down and then reverse engineer it. So look at it backwards. So you want to lose 20 pounds. What's that look like a month? Well, I probably need to work out 5 to 6 days a week a month. Okay, so what's that going to look like this week? So this week, I'm going to work out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Right? You pick the days. You might even want to write down what your workout is. Like I have a cardio day. I have a resistance training day. I have a Pilates day. I like to add in yoga 4 days a week. So these are, and I do all of these from home, by the way. I don't ever leave my house in order to work out. But this doesn't just apply to fitness. If you want to get out of debt, look at your debt and then how much do you need to pay each month to pay that debt off? And then what does that look like each week? How much money is going to come out of your account or whatever, your check or whatever it is? How much of that needs to be dedicated each week, then each month to getting it paid off in 1 year or 3 years, whatever your goal is. Don't start with the bigger goal and just get overwhelmed. Break it down into smaller steps. If you're like me and you run a business from home, I used to say, well, I'm going to bring on 4 new consultants in, next 2 weeks. But that's really not something I can always control. What I do control is the things I do in order to get in front of people. So I'm going to do a Facebook Live 5 days a week. I'm going to do a Periscope 5 days a week. I'm going to post daily to my Facebook, to my Instagram, right? So all of these things are going to get me, they're attainable goals that I can measure, that I can do, that I can control, right? And that way, and I like lists and I like check boxes. Like if I can check off something that I've done that day with a check box, it's like I've won the lottery. It makes me so happy. But I don't overwhelm myself with being unrealistic with my to-do list. Another little tidbit, let me give you this. You can't do everything all the time. It's impossible. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I homeschool, I run a business from home, right? And I make time for fitness, and it takes time. You have to dedicate the time to it. So I don't have a lot of, free time to just dilly-dally with. But I have learned that I do need to be realistic with what I say I can do each day. Yes, I do. I set blocks of times. Yeah. And I don't have like a structured, I do set time limits on my goals. Now for like weight loss, I don't really know how long that's going to take me. That's up to my body. I do know that my body runs 2 weeks behind, but I do things like if I work out now, in 2 weeks is when it'll show up. But that's because I track all of my food. So that's part of getting to my goal of losing weight. I track what I eat, and I track how much I exercise. I track everything so that, and I've done that for years because I have a lot of intestinal issues. I suffer with IBS. And so I have to be very careful with what I eat. And for years I tracked what I ate so that I could tell what set me off, what would make me really sick. And it just became a habit. Well, it's really good for if you're trying to lose weight, one of your goals, and I set this every week, track all my food and all my physical activity. That's a goal for the week. That's a goal for me. So I'll look at that goal each day, and I'll go back and I'll make sure that I write it down, because I have a fitness planner as well, and I'll write down everything. Actually, I try to do it, if it goes in my mouth, I write it down really fast. Yeah, watch the replay. That's cool. Thanks for hopping in. I do not have, it's going up on my blog. This will be going up on my blog, and I'll be writing out some stuff. So go to melodyreynolds.com and sign up for the updates, because I don't have a lot of stuff on there because I kind of just took for granted the way that I do things. I kind of thought, everybody kind of did it that way, and people that I will help will tell me, well, I didn't think about it that way, and I'm like, oh. Sometimes how you know stuff and you don't really think it's helpful, and then you're like, oh, this could really be helpful, like if I opened my mouth and told people. So you can go to melodyreynolds.com. There will be information coming. It's MELODYE Reynolds.com. Always got it. It's just like it is here on Periscope. And make sure you're connected with me on here too, because I'm going to be scoping every day. That's a goal. Every weekday. Hi Gina, how are you? So that's another thing. Be realistic with your expectations of yourself. Okay? So I always have 3 things I want to get done every day. I want to do one thing for my business, right? Now, of course, if I do more, that's great. But I always want to have the goal that I do one thing for my business, that we move along in our homeschool, and I do one thing for my fitness every day. Those are my 3 non-negotiables. Now, if I get more done, that's fantastic. If I don't, I give myself grace and say, like today, we kind of had a little bit of a stomach issue going on today, so it slowed all of us down. My daughter was homeschooling slower today. I was moving slower today to help her. And so I knew that the 8 things I had written on my to-do list probably weren't going to get done, but my top 3 were. And I did get my top 3 done today. So always have a top 3 for each day. And then look at your goals. Like I said, look at the broader goal and break it down. Reverse engineer it. What's it going to take to get me to that point on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis? What am I going to have to do? That way, and then what you do is you take the things that you need to do daily, and that's what you plan out. And every Sunday night, I do some planning on Fridays, and then Sunday nights I do my final look through. If you take a few hours each week to set yourself up for success, I call it the Sunday setup. I got that from a business mentor of mine. She calls it the Sunday setup as well. And it really does sets you up for success, because when I don't sit down and think about, actually think about what I'm going to do, nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. I don't know. For me, I need to have that structure, and I know that if I don't, things are going to go by the wayside. It's going to be a disastrous week. Sunday setup. So I take a little while. Yeah, it takes me, an hour to an hour and a half usually, sometimes a little longer if I'm getting, because I will write down, like I have written out that I was going to scope about goal setting today. And I was going to Facebook it. Because I didn't want to think about it today. I wanted to go ahead and have it planned out when it was like I was chillaxing, I was, relaxed, and I'm not in the midst of the week. So, and then I also leave a little wiggle room each day to where I'll have a little extra time if I want to get some extra things done. Now, every day doesn't go as planned. There are days when you wake up sick. There are days when you wake up and, an emergency happens. But if you have things written out and you're moving every day towards your goals, then it's kind of like it's a nice security feature that you're like, okay, well, I might have been off today, but I've done a lot this week. And it also kind of tracks what you are getting done. If you really sit down and look at how are you spending your time, you'll find I hear people say, well, there's no way I could homeschool and run any kind of a business from home. And I'm like, yeah, there is a way. You have to give up some of your TV. You have to give up some of your leisure time. I do take time for myself. I do make sure that I have a self-care day once a week where I do things that fill me up, because that's a whole nother issue. If you're not filling yourself up, you're going to burn out and you can't take care of anybody else. But you have to we are to be good stewards over everything that the Lord gives us. He gives you a set amount of time. We all have 24 hours in a day. I do not work myself to death, but I'm slowly, every day, a little bit at a time, working towards a goal every single day. And that makes me happy. That makes me fulfilled. That makes me know, that helps me to feel like I'm making progress. And I've always been a person that I want to make progress in whatever it is that I'm doing. I take on new challenges often because I like that. I like to keep my mind fresh, and I feel like I'm living when I actually do that. Jamie, you can get it, girl. You can get that. I promise. And when you start seeing some of your goals happen, that's really motivating. When you see 5 pounds come off, or when you see, when you get your first paycheck, you start a business, you start a network marketing business, and you get that first paycheck, and it's like, I made $100 just by telling somebody about a product, then, those things really start to spur you on and motivate you. So those are some very brief goal setting tips that I have for you. Make it clear what you want to do. Have a clear goal. Break the steps down. Get them broken all the way down into what you have to do every day, and then sit down and daily plan those things out so that you're always moving towards the goal. How am I using my time? Need to goal set. Yeah, because if you're not intentional with it, then things just get away from you. And because I used to think, well, I don't really need to plan everything out. I know what I need to do every day. But there's just something about sitting down and taking the time to let your brain process, what do I need to do? And when you have things written out, science actually backs up the fact that you remember things better, you process them in a different way than just thinking about them or talking about them. And you don't get that time back. So, you got to think, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, I had to give up some TV time. That's okay. I would rather work out or work on my business. Do I still watch TV? Of course. I still have Netflix. I ain't crazy. I know there's all kinds of good shows on there. I just watch them a whole lot slower than everybody else. Or I have a whole day where I binge. That might be my self-care day. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. I will be talking more about goal setting in the future. I just thought that was something I should share, that I don't always maybe know that it would be helpful, but when I learned that from a business mentor, I thought, wow. So you don't have to be so overwhelmed by your goals. I always like to help you simplify things in any way that I can. And that for me was like a life changer. When I thought, okay, I can look at the big goal, and then I can look at monthly, weekly, daily, what do I need to be doing? It really started moving me forward in everything that I was doing. So that's my hope for you tonight, is just to get you thinking about, what you're doing with your time and managing your life. And I'm not motivated every day. But I have to get some days I'm just like, I don't want to get out of bed today. But that's why you put things in place to help you get going. And I'm going to share more about that too, but that'll be a different broadcast. Because I want to talk, I talked about it last year, but I'm going to do another one again, a broadcast on vision boards and vision books. And mine are biblically based. Because the Bible actually tells you to write your vision out to see it come to pass. So I want to explain all of that. So be looking for that. Make sure you're connected with me on Periscope. If you're on Facebook, make sure you're getting my live notification. Well, good. I always say the Lord brings you in here. It's never an accident. It's always a divine appointment. It's just something maybe you need to hear just 5 minutes of what I said. So I'm so glad you came in. If you're on Facebook to get the notifications, you just tap at the top and it'll say notifications and you hit get live notifications. So I hope you guys have a great evening. I'm going to try to watch the sunset now that it's setting earlier. And my hummingbirds. I'm so sad about fall coming. Y'all don't even know because I'm such a summer and spring girl. That's a whole nother issue. Love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Bye, Facebook. Y'all say hey if you watch the whole thing now. I don't see many people on here, and I don't know. Facebook, I don't think, shows me. So you guys have to let me know you was here. Bye, y'all.